I did the review last night and did the little video from outside the stadium, which some of you may have watched. And I said I would do a video on this channel and upload something today. And when I said it, I thought I'll be perhaps more measured and I'd have calmed down a bit. But calm down was probably the wrong thing. I don't feel any better about it today, by the way. And I say calm. I hadn't really lost my temper. I hadn't lost it. Yeah. In fact, when the final goal went in, I don't know if you managed to see it, because I know the broadcasting was quite restricted last night. But for the final goal, Masuaku fell over. It was like a comedy. It was a comedy goal. It really was. And I wasn't angry. I was almost... I knew it would happen, you know. This is very much West Ham. To beat Manchester United, then lose to Oxford. I didn't know at the time. Oxford reserves. That's very West Ham. That is typical West Ham. And I put a message out on social media the night before saying I didn't want to laugh at Tottenham because I was a bit worried about what would happen the next day. And of course it did. I was hoping that I would be wrong. We don't take it seriously. These things happen when you don't play your first team. And I don't want to sort of repeat much of what I said last night. But the reason for this video, and you're probably looking at the title, is somebody has sent in a video. Now, this is the forum channel, and I want people to send in videos. And I completely disagree with him, by the way. But I really like him. I really like what he said. And the very first thing, I'll play his video in a second, but I wanted to argue against it first and introduce him, and also and praise him for saying it, because one of the first things he said in his video is, I know this is going to be unpopular, please don't give me too much grief. And I do like a different opinion. This is the forum channel, this is there for you. So so please do respond to him, go easy on him as well, because I do think it's going to, his opinion is unpopular, and I do, but I respect it, and I respect what he goes on to say, and I think his thoughts are very much aligned with how Manuel Pellegrini thinks about things. He looks like Xavier Hernandez as well. Not Pellegrini, of course. Daniel, whose video I'm about to play. So Daniel's from Brazil. He looks like Xavier Hernandez. His English is better. His English is certainly better than my Portuguese is. I think his English is probably better than my English as well. But many foreign people speak English better than us Brits, don't they? So anyway, it's really about Pellegrini and about... I've listened to his press conference as well, and I wasn't totally impressed with what I said, with what he said, because I think it sends out the wrong message. And the onus is so much on us to beat Bournemouth now, because we sacrificed that game. That game last night was the sacrificial lamb. There's no way you can put a team together like that and expect to win a game. Pellegrini spoke in a press conference like he knew. He said it's always difficult when you play lower league teams, because you know they're going to be motivated, you know they're going to fight for every ball, and so on and so forth. And he gave out a load of platitudes to them as well. And I just think, well, if you know that, Manuel, then why didn't you put a team out to counteract that? Why weren't the players expecting that? We're very low energy. And what Daniel goes on to say is that he doesn't care about the cups. He speaks really well. He gives a really, really well-reasoned argument. And I think his view is something that's shared by a lot of the players. I just don't think they get it. And I'm absolutely gutted. And I think it's just the nature of a football fan. I think I will feel a little bit better if we go on and beat Bournemouth. I think that's natural. I think it would be a good result. But I think I'll feel a whole lot worse if we don't beat Bournemouth. If we lose to Bournemouth in particular. I think a draw, I'm going to sort of feel a bit... Yeah, I'm sorry, I spoke like my daughter then, so I saw my daughter's this. But I think you'll be a bit beige, a bit blasé, a bit benign to it all, really. And I think if we win, it takes the edge up. I think if we lose, then I feel a whole lot worse about that cup defeat yesterday. And I would really like Pellegrini, if he's not going to go for it, and he didn't go for it. Nobody can convince me that Pellegrini went for that. If you're not going to go for it, then I think it's probably wise to at least say as much, because clearly he wants to qualify for the Europa Cup via the league, which is what Daniel was going to talk about in a second. But you qualify for the Europa Cup by winning the League Cup, and you get the glory as well. And then you get in there And I remember I went to Cardiff in 2006 for the cup final. And the thing about Pardew is, I know Pardew wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but Pardew never played at West Ham. But he got it. He got West Ham straight away. He sort of knew what the fans wanted. He knew we wanted to attack, and he knew we wanted to do well in the cup. So he got us promoted. He got us safe. And I think realistically, he knew that he wasn't going to challenge for the league title. And when we got through the cup, he actually prioritised the cup games. He rested. I seem to remember it. My memory's a bit, I remember the day very well. The run-in's slightly vague, but I seem to remember him resting players on the league games in order for us to do well in the cup. And it worked, because it got us to the final, and it so nearly worked in a very, very big way. And it was quite interesting, the cup final, because it's not something that gets forgotten, because I was listening to Talk Sport on the radio yesterday, and they were talking about the cup final. Adrian Durham and whoever he was talking to, can't remember now. Remember Darren Goff, sorry, we were listening on the radio. They were talking about the cup final. Everyone remembers that cup final, because we were in it, you know, and that's why we remember it. It's a big day, it's a massive day. Could we have gone on to win it? It would have been remembered even more. It's a massive, massive thing, and I just think there's so much pressure now, on particular in Pellegrini. But I believe Eddie Howe made 11 changes. I think he made 11 changes. So it's not just Pellegrini who's doing it. It's not just something that the South American coaches or continental coaches, foreign coaches. There's English coaches doing it as well. They just don't rate the cup competitions. And for me, that feels like a dagger to the heart. And I still would have gone last night, because I still think that team should and could have won. You would still expect them to. But the team was totally devoid of athleticism. And that's a real problem when you play the lower league teams, because you're going to have to out-battle them. But the players should know you're going to have to out-battle. You've got to run faster than them. You've got to be stronger. And we just weren't. We were languid. We were slow. It was a slow team. I think even our best team is too slow. You play that team and it's very, very pedestrian indeed. I was stood next to Scott from West Ham Fan TV yesterday, whose company I always enjoy, and he was saying about reserve team football, and he made a great point. When you have reserve team football, these players that don't usually feature would be fit, and they're not fit. Ajeti hasn't really played. Snodgrass is not featuring, and he's and you can go on and on. The back four is a different matter, and then so we get to see that back four should be able to keep clean sheets, because that back four was starting last season. So it's not just about that. I do think desire comes into it, and I think that desire has to come from the very top, and the pressure now is really heavily on for Bournemouth. I just think the final thing I'd like to say as well is that our squad isn't half as good as we think it is. Our first team is okay. And some of it is very good. But when you start stripping out, Lanzini's injured, which is a major problem for us, because I do think he's our best player. So much of the onus is then on Felipe Anderson. Our squad, that squad is not as good as we think it is. Sorry, I know I've just repeated myself there, but you look at what happened last night. You look at the team we put out. And I think Pellegrini does want to get through in the competition. I don't think he was throwing it, even though I said it was sacrifice, because obviously he brought on Noble, he brought on Anderson, and he brought on Haller to try and win it. But the fact that they weren't playing certainly suggests that he knew that it was second choice. It was playing second fiddle. And it also showed, I think my main annoyance is, it showed he'd learned nothing, absolutely nothing from Wimbledon last year. And here's the trouble with it. We're all annoyed now. Fast forward to next season. Next season, let's say we pick a club out of the hat. Pick any club out. Let's say we draw Grimsby next season in the cup. We will get to that. People's memories of this, I don't mean everyone, but a lot of people's memories of this will be diluted somewhat. They will be absolutely diluted. When we get to that, people will be saying, oh, okay, well, let's rest the first team players. Let's put out X, Y, and Z. And that team should be good enough to beat Grimsby. And we learn nothing. The manager learns nothing. and he has to beat Bournemouth. Anyway, that's it. I thought I was going to do a couple of minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Please do listen to Daniel now. He's been very brave by sending this in. I want to encourage, this is the forum channel, I want to encourage people to send in their videos. He's a good guy, and I really like him. I say, looks like Javier Hernandez as well. And I think he's been brave for sending it in, because he probably knows he's going to get stick in the comments. So by all means, disagree with him in the comments, agree with him in the comments. Don't be nasty. You're a good bunch anyway. You're 100%, 99% of people are not nasty to him anyway. So anyway, give him a chance. Listen to what he's got to say. And then, because I want people to be nice and respond and debate, because that's what it's all about. So I want other people to send in their videos as well, because it's a chance for you to give your opinion. It can't all be about one opinion. I feel the way I feel, we know it, but there are a whole bunch of other people who basically don't mind that we've gone out of the cup.
Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Daniel. I'm a big West Ham fan from Brazil, and I have a sort of unpopular opinion that I'd like to share it. It's regarding the cup game today. I didn't watch the game, but I see we got our ass kicked 4-0, was it? And I don't care. I don't care one bit. I think it's maybe a good thing even, really, because I'm talking about the big picture here, the long-term picture, okay? And in this regard, cup games don't matter. Cup titles don't actually matter much, really. Because what we need to do, and I'm talking about here, I want to be in the near future where Tottenham is today, or even further, because Tottenham haven't won anything. So that's where I see ourselves. And in order to do that, what we really need to do is to reach the Europa League, and as a first step. And I'm not talking about reaching the Europa League once. I'm talking about establishing ourselves as an Europa League team and reach it every year or almost every year. And who knows, maybe in the future, if Tottenham gets worse, if some other teams get worse, maybe we can reach the Champions League. And that's what I'm talking about here. That's where we need to go. Because think about it, cup titles, yeah, they're fun, but they don't propel us to be a bigger team. We've won FA Cups before, and where are we now? I don't want to support the team that wins a FA Cup once, and then the next 20 years we're just like mid-table teams or even getting relegated. That's not for me, really. And I'm sharing my opinion here. Obviously, most of you disagree with me, but I think we need to establish our brand throughout Europe and even worldwide. And think about Frankfurt for a while. Many people know about, and I'm talking about last year here, many people know about their big, like their three biggest players, Rebic, Haller, and Luka Jovic from last year. And why do you guys know about it? Think about it. There is only one reason. That's because Frankfurt reached the Europa League semifinals. All right, they played Chelsea, right? And who won the German Cup? Does anybody know here? I don't. And why is that? Because German Cups don't matter. FA Cups don't really matter. Nobody cares about it. So if you want to attract better players, and if you want to sell your players for a bigger value, you're not going to do that by winning a cup. You have two options. You can either win the Premier League, that's not going to happen, or you can reach the Europa League year in and year out, and maybe even winning a title, or just, getting to the semifinals like Frankfurt did. That works for establishing your brand. And that's where we need to do. Just think about it. Frankfurt sold Haller to us for 45 million. They sold Luka Jovic to Real Madrid for 65 million. Do you think that if they only won the German Cup, but they didn't even reach the Europa League, do you think they will be able to do that? I don't think so. And I live in Brazil. I follow the Brazilian league. And if you ask any Brazilian player, and I assure you guys, that's the honest truth. If you ask them, oh, would you rather move to Sevilla or West Ham? 100% of them are going to say Sevilla. And why is that? We have more money. We play in a better league. We have a better squad. Our players are better than Sevilla's, right? So why do they want to move to Sevilla? Because of the brand. Sevilla consistently, year in and year out, they're reaching these tournaments, Champions League or Europa League, and I think they won like 3 Europa Leagues. I don't remember correctly. I think they won 2 in a row at least. I don't know, but they won this tournament a couple of times. And in the last decade or so, they managed to establish themselves as a bigger club in Europe. And that's what we need to do. Not just winning a cup. That doesn't do much, really. It's fun, right? Everyone wants a title. I want to win a title. But I just don't want to win a title and then, next year, a mid-table team, playing for nothing. That's kind of depressive, right? I want to be where Tottenham is today, where Arsenal is today. I want us to be like a consistently top 6 Premier League club. All right? And for that, and I think Pellegrini sees this way. I think that's why he plays Roberto in cup games. That's why he doesn't seem to enjoy and care about cup games. Because I think he really understands what I'm talking about here. He agrees with me. I don't know if I'm right. I don't even know if he's right. But I think that's the way to go. We need to do something different. We can't be like a mid-table team forever. All right? So please don't get mad at me. Just my opinion. I know most West Ham fans really want to win a cup title. I want to. I really want to. Okay? But I'm talking about the business side here. I'm talking about the long-term picture. I'm talking about the future here. And this 4-0 today doesn't matter. What matters is we beat Man United last week. And if we play Bournemouth Saturday, right? If we beat them, and if we continue doing that, and if somehow we manage to sneak in the Europa League, that's what's gonna propel us to be a bigger club. Hopefully, at least. All right. Well, thank you for